Right, we are live. I'm actually going to leave it for a few seconds. Hello and welcome to Final Fantasy 14 with the Brighty Otaku. At least back on schedule for the most part, and 30 in queue, so we should be going in really soon. And as I said, we will actually be starting with a dungeon, because we managed to complete Mario 11 tournament, and yeah, with the fast boot, I have actually now fully migrated the install to an SSD. Well, as long as the internet doesn't give out, so yeah. As I was saying, this quest is literally called Stepchild, as in STEPPE, as in the Azine step. So yeah, we actually completed the moon part, the part on the moon earlier on. Oh dear God. Oh look at it! It's fucking it keeps on moving. Well, yeah. Enough with the tomfoolery. We need to go into Vanispati. Yep. So we're now just waiting to queue. And thinking of that, oh, I haven't found any ether currents in Favnir or in Labyrinthos. Yeah, and I really need to, oh yeah, that's right, because I changed all of my gear on last week, so... No. And number two, I need to actually remember to, disable my Windows key, because I have a habit of hitting it. Okay, so you can actually... Yeah. Okay, we have tank DPS. We have level 80 striking dummies here. Hopefully we should be getting close to getting access to the role quests, because the role quests start at 85. Yeah, because I've only done Fates in Mare Lamentorum and Garlemald. I have done nothing in Fafnir or Labyrinthos. Alright. Let's just hope that other DPS wasn't AFK, and they're not. Alright. Gunbreaker. Hang on, do I have any food?
My friends, heed me. These are children of Fafnir.
Right.
Forgive me. I could do them no harm.
Oh, right. Hang on. I have
If this is the only way,
well, of course it's the only way, Reacher.
I shall silence the beasts of the air. Pray continue onward.
And managed to get a couple in that. I'm gonna quickly dash in and hang on. Opportunity. 6. Oh. Oh boy. Tank is squish. flipping heck. And we've just lost the tank. I'm gonna have to burn all my feathers. Come on. What the heck? Examine. Oh dear God, he's still using Crypt Lurker. He's still using Crypt Lurker at freaking 85. Man. Oh. Hang on. No, we have to stand on the... No, we don't have to stand on a face. Oh. You'll note that I have not really done this often. No. Stay away from the tank. Now let's just throw Curing Waltz in. Ah, okay. Oh! Oh! And shields. There we go. Oh, that was lucky. Oh, no! No. Like a ring of healing.
Presence I sense. The horde draweth near. Be on your guard.
No. Oh, draweth near. The end have come. Okay, and hang on. Hang on. Pick a target. This is going to be a better angle. Quickly drop into here, grab you, Ring of Healing, Helm of Maiming. Okay, pick one, and I just wonder if this dude is actually using his mitigations. Let's charge it. Let's activate Dolman and you. Hang on. There we go. And shields. Clear out for the buster. Ether siphon. Right. To a bubble. Choker offending. Thorough rule of maiming. I mean, Billy, you should really be taking most of this gear. I just hope they are. Here we go. We're gonna roll need on that. Six, but I'm the only range, so I should be able to grab that. is they're actually waiting for me to finish cutscening. Over here. Okay, nope. Right, I'm guessing we stay... No. How in the heck are we supposed to do that mechanic? Opposite. Right, so over here. Thank you, and... Okay. Oh, it's that one. No, no, this way. Yeah, so I may have to get freaking knocked into the border. Probably not the best time to LB. Right. Let's stay here. Hello, Servatix. Nice to meet you again. Right, return to home point. Actually, that is going to be better than what I have. And pugilist arm. Nope. Command healer. You know, I think most of that group was actually from the same world.
As I feared.
What is it?
The beast was there, and now it is no more. Yes?
Indeed. We saw it plain. But you didn't, did you?
I saw nothing. Not the blasphemy that perished here, nor the other men turned beasts. And because of this, I now see all too well. There is no ether. Where the creatures should be, I saw naught but emptiness.
Emptiness? But that would mean...
Recall the words of the Watcher. 'Twas a stagnancy of ether, a cessation of flow, leading to decay and absence, that led the ancients to conclude their star was dying. This is the same phenomenon. The instant these people are seized by the transformation, their ether begins to rot and crumble away like dried mud. Until, from their corporeal forms to their very souls, naught remains.
But the beast spoke with its dying breath. Surely at least a sliver of the man it was endured.
Mayhaps so. But even if the process was incomplete, it was little more than a faint residue.
Got to be good. You're saying they cannot be saved?
Not by any means known to me. Or by any means at all, like as not. For there is naught left to save.
They return not even to the ethereal sea.
The beasts rage on, their hunger insatiable. Even deprived of their master, they perpetuate his legacy of hate. Once proud sons and daughters of Thavnir, all of them, and now I spill their blood.
Vitra, my friends, I am heartened to see you safe. You put your secret at risk. Those closest to me already know the truth. A truth I must now share with one and all. Vitra, calamity has come to Radzatan. Our fair nation is rent by screams of pain and despair. More than ever, we require a strong leader to shepherd us through the storm. Reveal your true self to our people, Vitra, and guide us to salvation.
What madness is this, I One? Thou dost forget thyself. Were we to reveal our duplicity, it would do naught but foster confusion and chaos. Nay, I shall remain the Satrap's loyal ally and do battle with the beasts. Easing hearts and leading the people to safety is thy task, and thine alone. I ask that you remain at Ahewan's side, and render unto him what aid you may. I know not what lies ahead, but without you, Ra-Zet-Han will not survive.
Take me with you. I am as at home fighting in the air as I am on land. Take me with you.
Were my words unclear? I require no assistance. Thy place is at Ahewan's side.
Estinian, here. It's the last thing you ever wanted. A link pearl. We gain much from knowing your elevated perspective. And it'll keep you from getting lonely, which I know you love.
You heard the man. Seems I'm coming with you after all.
Then I pray thy grip is iron. Be it on thy head if thou dost chance to fall.
Fair enough. Now, shall we?
I fear it is as Vitra says. We will not survive this on our own. While I am loath to impose upon you again.
I would insist if you did not. 'Tis the very reason we have come.
Then once more I find myself without words to thank you properly. Let us return to the capital and plan our next course of action.
Alright. Okay, yeah, we are now in Ra-Zet-Han. Ah, right. I need to sort out my armory chest. I think body? No. What was it I needed? Oh, that's right. I set everything to... be moved into my inventory and not the armory chest. Hang on. If you wouldn't mind waiting around for a second, Nahawan. I'm going to quickly speak to the mender. Yeah, this is probably gonna improve things no end. Wow, 1,000 gil. Nah. Right, glamour plates. So, vest and earring. Oh dear, that is so... Yeah, so we've only got up by 1 point. And... Yeet. There we go. Radiant Host has eliminated the immediate threat to the city, though it pains me to know those beasts were once my own people. There is no telling when or where the next transformation might occur. We must remain vigilant and steel ourselves for whatever is yet to come. I'll actually grab some dye there. You may now enter Venice Patty with a party of NPC avatars. To make use of this feature, open the trust interface located under duty in the main menu. I need to check. I know the tank and the healer are from the same world. Yeah, it was just the tank and the healer. The ninja, the other DPS was from ERP Central. The Blasphemy Unmasked. Let's recruit so we may cover more ground. Nagaduta. Because I think after all of this, we unlock... speak with Grahat here and have him accompany you. Alright. Yeah, and we can't activate we can't actually attune to the Aephorite yet because, yep, temporarily disabled. Nadine, what do you have to ask? What do you have to say? I remember those red eyes. You and the Summons who commissioned the Skulls for us, yes? Because we need to see troubling times. Resisting the satrap and investigating the crisis that plagued the city, did you happen to catch sight of any of the creatures? I did. As I was going about my work, I was disturbed by crashing footsteps. So powerful that the very ground shook. Rushed outside, I could not believe what I beheld. The night sky was burning. Suddenly, I heard panic screams coming from the direction of Hudson Bazaar. The next instant, a monstrous beast posted out from amidst the stalls. And from the Radiant rushed to the scene, only to be sent sprawling as the fiend and its minions propelled themselves skyward. The rest came from the vicinity of the markets. This knowledge may prove useful. I thank you for sharing your tale. You know we should inquire at the bazaar then. Yeah, because as I've said, I've actually moved over to an SSD. Well, I've actually moved the entire install over to an. I've moved the install over to an SSD, so its own SSD. So he should not have any issues with latency with regards to loading. Okay, Graha! Discuss the textile stalls. This is Bavarian weave. I must say, it's than was the traditional fabrics of Gorvos. Small wonder, really, given it's just across the water. Because it's our culture, of course. I've not had the occasion to visit my ancestral home since coming to Charlian. And like as not, I will never reside there again. That's the reason to grateful for to see a royal eye, and with it the wisdom of ancient Alag. Alright. So, pressing concerns these days. Come with search but information concerning the enormous fiend that tore through the bazaar. Did you perchance witness anything? Right, not my friend. I was here the whole time. I only saw this its little minions made a mess of the place. They did. Well, that was all going on. The great big one tore through the west side of the bazaar. You'd have better luck asking there. Right. Alright. Then the matter, traveler, let's prepare assistance. You're supposed to appreciate we're not lost but in need of information. Might you know anything about the gargantuan beast that rampaged through the bazaar? Okay. Ban. CYNICAL. Wait. Oh. ECZ 459. Now where were we? There's also a business tree cut through the air. Then there was a fiend, its massive body bursting through that entrance and falls to a tidal wave, and then it was gone, quickly as it came. Angels path, at least in there. Tell us what you saw. As the screams, a horde of rounding beasts came through. And it was huge, bigger than the world, throwing people about like ragdolls, and it was eating them! I heard under the counter saw others do the same, but the shrieking away and it kept getting louder. More voices in the throng, beasts or victims, I couldn't tell. I knew not what was happening, I still don't. Enough, my good man, you were brave to share with us your tale. Many of your fellow merchants are safe. My Crucible too has survived, mostly unscathed. Pray close your friends and loved ones and rest your body and mind while you are able. Oh. Ah, right, over here. Collision much? Hang on, have I? Yeah, I have. An enormous beast, are you? I saw it, including the very instant the poor bastard transformed. Damn the goods for putting me there. It started over there, by the window. A few men, merchants probably, talking and drinking. Conversation must have taken a turn for the worse. Next thing I know, their leader, I suppose he was, buried his head in his hand, and the black mist was swirling around him. Then his whole body burst apart. There stands a hideous, slavering beast, massive and foul, all gaping maws and bulging eyes. His friends start shrieking, then the black mist comes again, till the change takes them too. The stuff of nightmares, I tell you. Nightmarish indeed. Instantly, do you perchance know who those merchants were? No, I'm a decorator by trade. Not much cause to mingle with their sort. Saw Meal and the barmaid chatting with them, though. She might know something. And while I'm here... nope, get closer, thank you very much. Even after repairing all the damage, it'll take a while for business to pick up again. You mean the blasphemy? That's what the radio been calling it anyway. I saw it too, we all did. I was standing here at the counter as Irud poured me a drink, and suddenly there came this dreadful sound, like a pained, angry groan. It's unlike anything I've heard before. I turned around in shock, and from an ominous cloud of black mist rose the creature, enormous and ghastly to behold. As for what happened next, to recall it sends shivers up my spine. But some stroke of fortune, I was able to slip outside before the beast got its claws on me. The sight that greeted me offered no solace. The blue sky above turned red as blood. Alright, myself and the other survivors clung to each other for dear life until the radiant host came to our aid. Wait, did I hear you correctly? The beast manifested before the sky began to burn? I'm certain of it. The windows here offer a clear view of the sky, and I saw nothing out of the ordinary until the beast appeared and began to rage. For other informations. You're illegal, right? We're investigating the so-called blasphemy on the Satrap's behalf. We hear it was one of your customers, a merchant that first underwent the transformation. What can you tell us about him? He was something of a regular here, especially of late. Khazal was his name. He ran his own consortium, dealing primarily in the export of Bavarian specialties. It's true when we met Metsia. Yes, the name rings a bell. Didn't you meet both on your first trip to Fafnir? If I recall correctly, Khazar ran a trading operation in Yehimad, and it was there that you made Metsia's acquaintance. A rather successful man from what I gather. That said, it was clear that he had fallen on hard times of late. Those ghastly towers popping up everywhere cannot have been good for business. Even now, with the towers gone, the collapse of the Empire has led to all sorts of problems elsewhere. The market for luxuries is surely not what it once was. Trying times for the head of a trading consortium, indeed. Halzal was a compassionate man. Even as his own business suffered, he did what he could to provide for the artisans, fishermen, and many others who counted on him to sell their wares. Indeed, it was the very topic of yesterday's meeting, as far as I could hear. Yet as they discussed matters further, Halzal's tone grew grave and grim. It was then that Give me. I will not have you recall the memory if it brings you pain. If I could, I would ask just one more thing. Did you notice anything unusual about Halzal in particular? Please, anything at all? Sorry, nothing springs to mind. Perhaps someone else can help you. Halzal lived for his work and had no family that I know of. His employees and associates knew him best, but they too are lost to us. Still, perhaps his neighbours know something I do not. I can direct you to them if you believe it would help. What do you say? Amidst the apocalypse, Halzal made his home in Gamma, a nearby residential area. From what I gather, Halzal lived there since childhood and was known throughout the neighborhood. The name is new to me. How do we get there? Write down some directions. Nothing else. It is a start. Yeah, and the only problem is with Grahar as a tower, we can't actually use the Ethernet. Let's see. After trace our steps and head back towards the Aetheryte Plaza. Yes, thank you. You know, I'm actually going to ignore all of the so I'm just going to head straight back. Oh, we're actually near level 87. Sorry, we don't need directions, Raha. Alright. Let's see, we arrived at last. Let us begin questioning residents without delay. No doubt someone here can tell us more about Halzal. In recent events, I imagine many are taking shelter indoors. Right. Oh, you say? Yes, I've known him since he was a boy. Never a man who was born to be a merchant, it was him. Always early to depart and late to return. He spent his days procuring the finest wares and seeking out winning customers. You say it came to him as easily as breathing. Sadly, business was flagging of late. No surprise really with how dangerous travel has become. He was scooped up in his house from dawn till dusk the other day, no doubt racking his brain for a way to turn his fortunes around. Then at night, I heard the doors open. I looked out to see Halzal sitting on the bench, his head hung low, and a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders. I see, the situation must have been quite dire indeed. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary? No one to speak of, other than the troubles with his consortium. He was the same old Cazal, cordial and honest, like always. These questions you are asking, has something happened to him? He wasn't called having that terrible incident at the bazaar, was he? Don't travel much these days, but my daughter told me not to venture outside. Stuck in here as I am, I've heard little about these bizarre goings-on. Rest assured, the city is safe for now, but the situation may change without warning. I urge you, stay close to your daughter and be prepared to take refuge should the satrap order it. Alright. Okay, so nothing here. I'm guessing the next one is in here? Ah! Did you come back another time? I just woke up and I'm not exactly in the mood for idle chit-chat. Oh, that's one way to avoid the panic, I suppose! On intrusion, you may not know it's a great danger has come to Fafnir. I encourage you to stay alert and prepare to flee the city should the situation turn dire. You're afraid I was... Did you know that the local... unusual about him recently? Yeah, I know him. In fact, we spoke just the other day. Like many others, his business has been was doing poorly. So it seemed as though he'd managed to turn things around thanks to a generous order from the fathers. Well, he was practically dancing in the streets. I haven't spoken to him since, but I assume it all went well. I'll be able to tell you more, though, as I recall, he's the one that brokered the arrangement. Right. Yeah, and now we have to head to the other end of freaking Fafnir. And we can't use the Ethernet because we have a fucking server! Ah, screw this. Oh! Oh, I can actually... Hey. Mayo and egg sausages. Not the names these people come up with. Right. Well. Just the way to Dharma. If I'm not mistaken, these stairs lead to Dharma. So the red sky above. During the final days of yore, the heavens burned and the stars fell. Creation magic ran amok. That was my assumption when I saw Amarok. Perhaps the ancients believed the same. That terror of a single powerful individual was the cause of their calamity. What could it be that sets the heavens aflame and turns ordinary men into beasts? Alright. Farming silkworm. What? Alright. Okay, here's the question. Ah! Stairs! So there's no time to waste. Pardon me, but you're in charge of buying and selling here. You're in charge of buying and selling here. Yes, we have a few questions we'd like to... I'm sorry, but I simply don't have the time to chat. Haven't noticed we have a handful at the moment to carry all our wares and equipment to safety before those accursed beasts return. In that case, might we be of assistance? Perhaps you could speak when the job is done. Very well. You can start by helping us move our equipment. Ask the others what to put where. We can carry our fabrics. Go through the door and speak with Kamala. She'll tell you the rest. Remember, those textiles are our livelihood. Handle them with care. This area is for employees only. Out! Out! Is that you come to help? Oh, praise you. Here you pass 3 storehouses. Yes, I'd like to carry that storehouse and have a crate of clothes. Domestic crate goes to the middle storehouse. Once you're back with that one, I'll consider your work here complete. Right. Light crate. We got the ordinary crate. Weighty crate. Yeah, load bearing. So quickly too. I'm associated with see to rest. Tell the truth, we'll be grateful for the distractions. Too many terrible happenings of late, but generous souls like yourself give thee hope that we may emerge from this trial even stronger. I pray we meet again in more peaceful times. Sort of way, we will not lose any more to those fiends. Take it that your establishment did not escape the attack unscathed. We did not. Thankfully, most of our work had already left for the day, but those of us here saw it all. We looked at the burning skies of confusion, and then, before we could even begin to make sense of it, a hideous creature burst through the door, shrieking. We ran for our lives, but one of my colleagues was not so fortunate. He cried out, a scream of such agony, such terror, and in the next instant, he too spouted fearsome claws. The sight of it caused another fellow to panic, and then he too transformed. I'm sorry. Something you wanted to ask? Indeed, you knew the merchant Khazal, did you not? I believe he has some dealings with your establishment. I know him well. We arranged for his consortium to deliver a large shipment of fabrics, but in the end we received a better offer and had to turn him down. I understand his business is struggling, but so is ours. Another of our most reliable trading partners agreed to transport for the goods for a much smaller commission. They'd have been fools to refuse. I felt terrible for withdrawing the offer, but you must understand we simply had no choice. He tried to put on a brave face when I delivered the news, but his dejection and despair were plain as day. He said he discussed it with associates, but I could tell he looked all but given up. Hope. Dejection and despair. You remember what we saw in Van Spatty yet? Soldiers and jungle dwellers pushed to the very brink, turning into beasts, one after the next. It would seem the same phenomenon occurred here, the poor craftsmen attacked by the fiends as well as those that witnessed it, all undergoing the change. I suspect that everything began with Khazal. By all accounts, it was he who suffered from the most profound and piercing despair. Hey, could that be it? That such intense emotions were what triggered his transformation? Much remains unclear, but I believe we are drawing closer to an answer. At any rate, we must discuss our findings with the others. And there we go, level 87. Beyond the depths of despair, Grahatir is eager to share all you have learned with your companions. You should reconvene with the others in front of Megaduta. Where we not? That should be just outside. With any luck, they have already returned from their own investigations. My friend, we must take our leave. I pray that your establishment is spared further tragedy, but remember, your lives are far more precious than anywhere's. If you are ordered to flee, do so without hesitation. And good, we don't have our tether. But I actually see another sightseeing spot. And this one is a bit of a doozy. Oh. Ding bong, thank you very much. I somehow managed to actually pull that off. And there's Stola.
There you are. You've spoken with the survivors.
Oh, and turn on auto text advance.
Indeed. We thought to share what we have gleaned, that we might together gain a greater understanding of present circumstances. Fortuitous timing. Alize and I completed our own investigations not long ago.
Then we should take a moment to compare notes. Shall we begin with the two of you?
So the merchant Khazal was gravely concerned about his business in the days preceding his untimely end.
The tales we heard were much the same. The first victims to be changed into blasphemies were all overcome with anguish of one manner or another. Then those who saw their loved ones stolen before their eyes succumbed to a similar panic, setting in motion a chain of transformations.
Fear, unease, despair. These negative feelings serve as a catalyst.
If so, then it is not unlike the calamity that befell the ancients. With their creation magics, they unwittingly gave form to untold horrors. Had they simply lost control, surely it would have manifested in many forms, not all of them monstrous. Yet somehow, this phenomenon is triggered solely by the darkness in their hearts, a common thread with what we now witness.
Common, but not identical. While the beasts the ancients faced were forged with magic alone, those of today are born of sentient beings. Why remains to be seen, but there is one fundamental difference between us and our predecessors. Our souls are sundered, whereas theirs were not. Perhaps that single variable makes all the difference.
If I may, there was another detail that troubled me. We have it on good authority that Karl Zahl's transformation took place before the skies began to burn.
What? If that's true, then the situation's more dire than we realized. It means even if there's no ominous sign presaging the final days, anyone, anywhere, has the potential to become a beast. Even in lands we thought safe, even as we speak.
Look! It's the satrap! The satrap!
Thank the heavens.
My countrymen, I am relieved and heartened to see you strong and safe. While the danger has not yet passed, far from it, allow me to assure you that the beasts that raged within the city walls have been exterminated to the last. Outside this sanctuary, the brave men and women of the Radiant Host and our dragon ally continue to battle our unholy foes. I pray these tidings put your minds at ease and help you calm your hearts. Have faith that we shall soon conquer this terrible trial.
Your Excellency, is there any word from Balaka's stand? My grandson was bound for there yesterday, and I worry for his life.
We are still awaiting a report, but I promise you, as soon as I have aught to share...
Your Excellency, I bring grave news.
You are?
I'm Matsya of Akyali, a humble fisherman.
Ah, I remember you from our first visit.
Wait, you're... But no, that can wait. When the skies turned red, I set off for Balaka's stand, fearing for the safety of a friend. But as I drew near the village, I saw dreadful beasts all about.
No! Gods have mercy! Your Excellency! Save my grandson, I beg of you!
We will spare no effort to save all we can, but you must remain calm.
Calm? You tell me to be calm? You saw those beasts? They tore our bravest warriors limb from limb! What if we are too late, huh? They catch him, sink their fangs into him? The fangs! The screams!
Get away from her, now!
We've got to kill them before it spreads.
We'll handle this. See the townspeople to safety.
Run as fast as you can! My son.
Enough. You must run. For their sake and your own. Yes. You will survive. You must.
Yep, Grahar is about to lay it down.
Be strong, my friends! Fear not, for we will defeat these abominations! Brave men and women of the Radiant Host, lend your Stola and Thancred your aid. Let not a single beast escape. The rest of you, flee this place. Carry the wounded if you must. Head indoors or underground. Above all, stay calm. No beast will follow you. We will see to that.
Alphino! Alice! Leave the city to us, and make for Palika's stand at once! Matya, show my friends to the village. I promise you,
They're more capable than the host's finest!
Right!
Go with them, will you? We will save these people. As many as we can.
Okay. Okay. Survey the area to defeat any enemies that appear. Oh. There. Right. Next. One, two. Done. I'm sorry, Alize, but first things first. Pet a crystal. Cannot be. Hang on. Turn off auto check advance. Okay, quickly. I see no beast, but stay on your guard. The cooling body has already begun to stiffen. The massive wounds suggest that the villager was gored by a terrible beast. The villager has no pulse, nor does he appear to be breathing. Though the village's injuries do not appear to be life-threatening, he does not respond to your efforts. His breathing grows more ragged in the shadow, and his vacant eyes those from a man who has lost the will to live. Alright, no, it goes on. No, leave me to sleep. You called out, but the man does not respond. Ah, yeah, he's behind the building. Alright, to Dora. Have you come to help us? Too late, my family, my friends. Oh, there he is. Are these the only villagers who survived? I only hope others managed to flee. Let the rest have been turned to beasts by the 12. Let us do what we can to see that the damage spreads no further, and no matter what comes, we must keep our spirits high, lest we ourselves suffer a similar fate. You now have Ethernet access to the gate of the first. Here. He's hurt, but praise be to the sisters, he still lives. Let's see, tell me everything. I have not the words to express my gratitude for your aid. When heavens began to burn, we were afraid, but did our best to carry on as we have always done. As we always have done, until today, when those unholy beasts came pouring into our village, a flood of midnight and death. There are no words to describe what followed. Men and women I have known since they were babes, struck down by the creatures, only to rise again to join the murderous horde in the guise of those same hideous fiends. In the chaos, a handful of our villagers fled for their lives. I can only hope they have found their way to safety. That's it. You chance will have, young couple. You always brought your freshest catches. When I first came to peddle my wares, desperate to eke out a living, they showed me such kindness. Others shunned me as an outsider, as is their way. I bought my fish and sung its praises. They turned my fortunes around. They're in terrible danger. I saw them running towards Gamma Temple, one of the beasts in the crow's pursuit. They had their child, still but a tiny babe. To elude these fiends while caring for one so young is an impossible task, surely. I beg of you, go to their aid. Right. Let's move. There we go. Ooh! Ether current. Temple just ahead. Sadly fallen into disrepair in recent years. If my friends made it this far, no doubt they're hiding somewhere amidst the ruins. Oh, this is not good. Wait here. Right. Right. And go! The man lies motionless on the ground, bearing a grievous wound. There's so strong between here and Balakistan. There is nowhere else she could have gone, I think. Right. See no tracks or signs of recent travel. The vulnerable child must be elsewhere. Thank you. Oh. Back to you. Alright. Alright. I don't know if the dwarf came through this area recently. See no evidence of their passage. I don't know, I found nothing. That's the beast that chased them farther from the village. So I see you right. Meanwhile, in the skies above Favnir.
No more enemies to trouble us here.
Nope. Need to re-enable text auto advance.
It's me. How fare you below? Understood. I will inform Vritra. Chaos and panic sweep Raz-at-Han, and many more have succumbed to the transformations. Amidst the fray, Ahawan fell, protecting a grief-stricken father. My friends fight alongside your Radiant host to secure the capital. Beasts have been sighted in Palakistan as well. We have divided our forces in hopes of quelling the threat there. Of small solace is that we now know what triggers the transformation. As my companions tell it,
so it is the very fear and despair in their hearts which inflict this abhorrent punishment upon them. A nightmare from which my children will never awake. O capricious and cruel fate, they are undeserving of such condemnation.
will you wallow in sorrow or rise to the occasion? Raz-at-Han is leaderless. Before he passed, Ahawan sought to reveal the truth to his people. Honor his wishes.
To what end? To breed a new conflict between dragon and man. These claws could reduce thee to shreds with a touch. These jaws crush thy bones to dust. Only through my proxy could I walk with my children. Without him, I am a bringer of fear, no different from the beasts which beleaguer them.
Perhaps so. Only in death were Hraesvelgr and Shiva united. Indeed, whenever man and dragon have come together, death has ever been the inevitable result. It was our fear of your kind that sparked a nigh-endless war. Fear and hate of which Nidhogg drank deep as he laid waste to my homeland. And in turn, I took my revenge on his brood. Blood for blood, pain for pain. I thought nothing of theirs, only of mine. And yet, were the chasm between us too vast and too deep, Hraesvelgr would not have borne Isael to battle and our rescue. He would never have entrusted a mortal champion with one of his eyes, and the Dragonsong War would still rage on. And I would still wage a never-ending war of violence and vengeance. The future of our star be damned. I cannot speak for Ahuan's greater goals, yet I know that he served you, served your people, long and true. In this time of unprecedented crisis, he turned to you. You could do worse than to place your trust in him. It will not be easy, but the future of Radz-at-Han hangs in the balance. We have company. The hour has come, Vritra! It's all or nothing!
Yep. No, when all hope seems lost. Oh, fled deep from the jungle and she was a child in great danger. Whatever did you do? Gods have mercy! Cannot let fear consume you. Consume me? What are you talking about? Oh, you can become a understand, I think. Seen to the wounded. How did the two of you fare? Did you find your friends? Yep, one is already dead and the other is missing. I see. In that case, let's hope you find the mother and child. Be safe in our absence. Right. Oh, the family. Tunor, understand me. I've lost one of our dear friends. That's maybe gone, but there's still hope for Mother and her child. Please find them, I beg of you. And if in your search you come across anyone else who escaped the slaughter, pray tell them what has happened. Do my best to keep the villagers safe and their spirits high. Visibility appears to be V3, no doubt thanks to your earlier efforts. And with that, let us resume our search for your friend and their child. Where should we begin, Metsia? Oh, Soda's self-reliant temple is a sacred place where all people can commune with divinities. It is possible that Mervyn sought shelter there, and perhaps other villages as well. Okay, is there a... Hang on. I just hope we don't have to... Oh, it already ended. Well... Villager woman. Right. And... She's a friend of mine too, but I've not seen her. Must be out there somewhere, trying to avoid the beast and with her child. God, worry not for me, I can make my way back to the village on my own. Right. Yep, there is a fate nearby, but... Ah, Matsia! Something terrible has happened. The beasts have come and many have already been killed. I don't know if they're going to do what they can, but there is... Alright, defeat the beasts. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this on foot. And... Ah. One done. Right. Alright. You got people to save. Right. 2 down, 1 to go. can I not jump up there? Yeah, how for the others? Lost one, but saved a handful more. So, in that case, let's have everyone gather in front of the temple.
Courage, friend. The pain will pass.
Has anyone seen Mevan? Where could she be?
We've dealt with all the blasphemies and made certain no villagers are still in hiding.
Good work. We've otherwise tended to the wounded as best we can.
What will become of us?
Help is on the way, surely. We may have to abandon our homes now, but we will return someday.
But where can we go? Is anywhere even safe?
That I cannot say.
Well, I can. Nowhere's safe. Run all you like, but there's no escaping these things. And even if I could, it's too late for my family.
This isn't good. The more they dwell on the tragedy, the more likely we are to lose them too.
My friends, this is a place of worship. Should your heart quake with sadness, cast your mind to the heavens and remember. Remember the teachings of the old gods. Did they not implore us to stand fast when waves of sorrow break against our shores?
Know this, my children. There is more ugliness than beauty in this world. To live is to suffer, to drink of calamity and drown in anguish, to toil and be tested, always and ever.
'Tis a perilous path you walk. Death lurks in the dark, and is the sole promise that awaits at journey's end. You will tremble with terror. You will weep tears of anger and despair.
But do not avert your eyes. See your life for what it is. Then will you see how the hardships make you strong.
Every doubt reforged as scales for your armor. Every agony to temper your blade.
Thank you, lad. We'd almost forgotten who we are. My undying gratitude to you as well, my friends. You were searching for Mevon, no? We must return home. I pray you help the boy find his friend.
Gladly. We dispatched what beasts we could, but the roads are still dangerous. Stay together and go in safety.
That was very impressive, what you did back there. Those words seem to resonate with your people.
They should. They were the first spoken unto our ancestors by the divinity of legend. I'm easily upset, and fish are wont to flee a temperamental hand, so I recite the teachings over and over to calm myself.
They're lovely and inspiring to hear, though I imagine they were born of great misfortune.
They are born of life. There's as much bad as good in it. More, many would attest. All the more reason to appreciate the good when you can.
I won't argue with that.
In darkness, seek joy. Surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free, and bear the light for others to follow.
And with that, let us see if we can't find Mervyn. Did you see? That beast was chasing someone.
Warm hearts, rekindled hopes. Let's see if I can actually get to... Nope. Yeah, that requires flight. Nope. There we go.
That's her! No, I'm sure of it! Mevon!
Don't, please!
Lord have mercy!
No, back to controls. Evan's lifeless body floats before you, battered and broken. Her death no doubt came swiftly. Her infant daughter, however, is nowhere to be seen. Take the baby into your arms. If she's yet loose, you cannot tell, but she will surely not survive unless you carry her to safety. Oh, and it's doing this thing again. Sorry, but you don't have fucking time for you. Okay. Yay, thanks for that. Has that actually done anything? Still rank 7, we still only have 1 SP.
She's so cold, Elfino.
The child is alert, and I see no wounds, and yet she grows weaker. My spells can do no more. What she needs is a change of clothes and a warm bed. We must hurry back.
Not now!
Matsia, take the child.
It appears we've made enough noise to be heard for miles around. More will be upon us ere long. We make our stand here. Matsia, can you take her back to the village? But the child, all by myself. You can't be serious.
The beasts will follow you home unless we stop them here. And so we shall. Be strong, Matsia. Her life is in your hands.
Quite literally.
Right. I can do it.
I know you can. We'll keep them busy, Matsia. Go! Quickly!
Steady. You know the way. No. No. Not you too. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
To live is to suffer, to drink of calamity. It is a perilous path. Death lurks in the dark.
No! I'm not afraid! I'm not afraid! Ah! Do not avert your eyes. See your life for what it is. See how the hardships make you strong. Every doubt reforged. Every agony. The divinity?
Nay, but one who would deliver thee just the same.
Please. You must save the child. She is all that remains of Mevan and Grasef. Please.
Well. Seems the babe's taken a liking to you.
Thou art strong, little one. Let us convey thee to thy home.
I spied our friends as we flew in. They appeared to be holding their own against the Horde.
Right. That's the last of them. We should hurry and find Matsia.
If he had help from on high.
What, like divine aid?
A fine battle it must have been. Shame I missed it.
Estinian, it was you who came to Matsia's aid.
I was only along for the ride. Vritra was the one who saw the boy was in need. The two are headed back to the village.
Where the worm will honor Ahiwan's wishes and finally reveal himself to his people.
Perhaps so. Will you go and join them?
There's something I need to do first. Mervyn gave her life so that her child might live. She deserves better than to be left to drift alone. She deserves to be laid to rest beside her husband, at least. Will you help me?
We've done what we can. 'Tis for the village of Palakistan to perform the funeral rites. If nothing else, Melvin and Kisas died as they lived, as themselves, and not as beasts. Their souls will find peace in the ethereal sea. To think the day would come when even the smallest of solaces will be discomforting. Pakistan, no doubt Reacher is awaiting us. Could probably have just teleported straight to Pakistan, but it's Reacher. The children of Earthling must be loose of this calamity. Mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, every death another void that can never be filled. We who survived them must carry the weight of their memory as we strive to regain a semblance of what we have lost. Kisefa Mother's babe is a child of Fafnir as well. I thank you for returning her to us safe. Truth in part, but not in whole. I am Reacher, and for years uncounted hath this isle served as mine abode. An isle I have ruled over a satrap, with Ahawan as my loyal servant. Oh, it is to be believed you were the true satrap all along? Hannah, what are you doing here? I heard from the Radiant that you had gone to help the people of Palakistan in their time of need. So I and several of my colleagues from the Great Work came to offer our services. The alchemists have already brewed up some potions for Mevan's daughter. You and your role are the far greater enigma. If you were the true satrap all along, could it be that young Varshan was created to serve as your emissary? Thou didst suspect the boy was but a simulacrum? A rumor had circulated for many years around the High Crucible that our most skilled alchemists were once commissioned by the satrap's family in secret to fashion a mammoth indistinguishable from a living boy. Looking at Bashan with that knowledge, I simply put two and two together, and probably didn't make 500. I was not alone in drawing this conclusion, but like me, they no doubt recognized that the satrap was using the simulacrum to work more closely with its people, and decided not to press the issue. I'd always assumed that one of Ahawan's associates was manipulating it from afar, though the truth is indeed far more surprising. It is an honor to meet you in the flesh, Master Vitra. Pray allow me to express my gratitude. If you had not believed in and given unto us your scales, I do not know where we would be. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. 'Twas thou and thy fellow alchemists that fashioned the means to unmake the towers. You were the saviours of not only of Razat-Han, but the star. How kind you are, Master Vitra. But the star yet wants for salvation. Once more, my colleagues and I commit the knowledge and resources at our disposal to the mission of aiding the people in this their darkest hour. Seeing this place is in good hands, I will return to see how Razat-Han fares. Okay, so nothing new but some I promise. This way. Ah, yes. Alright. It's still a bit longer, I'd say. Let's go on the Tower Beast. What in the name of the sisters is happening here in Favnir? No, there's rather a lot to take in. It would seem the situation is even more grave than we suspected. Thank you, my friend. My colleagues and I will use your knowledge to see if it can be further our own research. Here we are, a pot of piping hot chai, brewed from my own secret recipe of spices and tea leaves to go with hearty helpings of rich milk and purest sugar. No. Okay. I think there's one in. Nope. Ah. There is one. I think two is actually in. Nope. Oh, you have to speak to the Chocobo Keep. Get rid of that marker. Nope. Not in there. Oh, it's strange that they actually have black Chocobos. Oh. Oh, hang on. Did I? Oh, it must have been There we go. Alright. Now I need to see where number 3 needs to be delivered. Alright, not over here. I think I've explored all the buildings. Ah! Oh, what you need is a hot drink. Alright. The spirits. Nothing here. The final day shows no signs of abating, but that is all the more reason we must try to keep our composure. Our lives have been forever changed. The people we have lost will never return to us. These tragedies are a long way in on our hearts, but we have the capacity to live with our suffering, to carry the agony till we too join the fallen in death. Not a surrender, but a recognition. For it is only in acceptance that we find the strength to move forward. Under his wing. Let's become Evans and Kisses remains. I think surely the real species by each other's side. I and the people of Pakistan shall perform the rites as soon as we are able. As for the child, it will not be easy for her, growing up without her parents. I promise to do what I can. Once she is able to eat solid food, the fish I catch will help nourish her. I do believe everyone has a piping hot cup. There's much good work. How an attention face for every step. Let's pray that Pakistan has seen the last of those transformations, at least for now. They are still at risk, as every village in Favnir, like as not. Still, I trust we can leave this place in the care of our friends from the Radiant and the High Crucible. Shall we return to Razat Khan? By all means. Not let us keep you further. There are still many who have need of your wisdom and strength to deliver them from this terrible calamity. As I will do what I can as well. I'll bring rations and supplies. We have plenty to spare. And let us find Justinian and be on our way. Where do you wander off to again? Wait for Tirana. Near the bridge to Razat Khan, as I recall. Very well then. Justinian! I believe we have to head up. Right, okay, Yeah, we've only picked up one current. Don't tell me everything. All glad am I to hear the people are safe. Likewise, you are pleased to know I found no evidence of lingering beasts in the jungle and ruins. It would seem you finished off the last of them. Trying times yet lie ahead for the people of Fafnir. Fortunately, they have a wise and benevolent satrap to shepherd them through. Speaking of which, I received word from Franklin not a short while ago. He awaits our return on the city of... Yep, figures as much. Speak with Franklin in Lazatan. No preference. The Loyal Rise? Good to see you safe. Given the skies, 'tis all too easy to fear the worst. I'm pleased to report there is a season quenching the threat here in the city. The beasts have all been felled and the citizens are safe for now. I've also heard from the Radiant that an important proclamation will be made in the city square. But it said no more than that. Might you have any idea what this is about? So Reacher is finally coming out from behind the curtain. I suppose we too should hear what he has to say. To Megaduta, then. Before that, it would appear that the word of the assembly has not yet reached all the citizens. If anyone along the way seems unaware, we best enlighten them. Search for townspeople who missed the announcement. Yep. Okay, so we can't deal with that yet. Alright. We still going over too scared to go out and look. That's relief. I thought one of those beasts is going to eat me. I don't know where Shan is. He's a so run. I hope he got away. Huh. So maybe I'll see him in the square. Right. Please, I swear, my flesh tastes absolutely terrible. Oh, God, what are you doing scaring me like that? If we're not quiet, those beasts will find us. Square, you say? That's where the satrap was killed. With my very eyes, I saw him crushed in that creature's maw. So many lives lost, such terrible carnage. There is someone else who would lead Razad Han in his stead, whoever they are. If they say anything to sully the memory of our beloved satrap, I'll make them regret it. Alright. Ugh. There we go.
Look, someone's coming.
Oh, I need to re-enable auto text auto advancing.
People of Razathan, it warms my heart to see so many brave, resilient souls before me. Today, I would share with you a great revelation. But before I do, I must make a humble request. Do not be alarmed, nor avert your eyes. See the one I unveil for who he is, and know that he means you no harm.
Very well. I dare say it can't be worse than the horrors we've already seen.
Many thanks.
A dragon!
People of Radzathan, I am Vritra, and for years uncounted hath this isle served as mine abode. Tis as the Satrap's ally I am known. Today, I would reveal the truth unto you.
Let us hope they accept him.
If I am hearing this right, you were the satrap all along?
Vashan! I mean, Master Vitra, does your divine eye really see all?
Nay, child. While mine eye hath borne witness to the whole of our nation's history, to its future I am blind as thee. Countrymen, calamity the likes of which we have never known is come to Thavnir, our home. Friends and loved ones have been taken from us. I, too, have lost my closest confidant. Ahawan loved this land and served it with dignity till his dying breath. A nobler satrap there will never be. For so long, I lacked the courage to face you. I will not easily earn your trust, this I know. And yet, I cannot sit idly by and abandon Radzathan to her fate. A font of boundless vibrancy, this jewel of the ocean. Since time immemorial, hath she glittered with every color imaginable. To this dragon, slumbering in his dark lair, 'twas a mesmerizing sight, and one that brought no end of joy to my heart. This calamity hath stolen too much from you already, Yet so long as you live, the light of Radzatan will never be extinguished. I pray you let me watch over it. Over you. And lend me your strength, that we might face this trial and those to come as one.
I do not know you, dragon, but I thank you for speaking the truth to us. As divinities, both Manusha and Riga once joined together, so too do I believe that hand in hand, we can overcome this ordeal and welcome an era of peace.
A sight that would have surely brought a smile to Azael's face.
Indeed.
Oh, look. It's the Charlian Forum.
Excuse me, but I must speak with the Satrap at once.
Don't you see we're busy, Fortuno?
You have suffered dearly of late, yet you must endeavor to look beyond these losses to the future you yet have. On behalf of the Forum of Charlian, I come with a proposal by which you, the people of Radzatan, might be saved. I say again, I must speak with your Satrap. I beseech you, take me to him with all possible haste.
I am Satrap here. Speak thy proposal. All present shall hear and judge.
If I have given offense, then I apologize. First, allow me to share with you what knowledge we have of the phenomenon responsible for your woes. The final days. 'Tis an affliction of stagnancy and rot, sown into the currents of the star. Though the first prominent manifestation was here, in Thavner, it will invariably spread to every corner of the world. The Forum was forewarned of this apocalypse several centuries ago. Thenceforth, my predecessors sought to prepare for the end times in the only conceivable fashion, by securing a means of escape.
Escape the star? What madness is this?
'Tis by no means madness. With the coming of the 7th umbral calamity, the true nature of the Red Moon, Dalamud, was revealed. That it was an artificial construct of ancient Alag. But what of the Silver Moon? This celestial satellite is yet another technological marvel fashioned and maintained by ancient allies. A ship that will sail the heavens and deliver our people from destruction. And by our people, I speak not only of Charlian. We mean to save every man, woman, and child it is within our power to save. Including you, our dear friends of Radzatan. Recent events necessitate adjustments be made, and quickly, but we can and will escort you safely to the moon.
Long has thy Forum been allies to Thavner. I trust thou dost not extend this offer lightly. Yet I wonder, Is this truly the way? Is there a future to be built for us beyond this star our father deemed the last bastion of hope?
It is for that very reason I come before you and your people. To answer any and all of your questions. To offer my assurances and allay your fears. Though, if you wish the best for your people, I advise you to render your decision swiftly.
Show our friends to Megaduta. They are to be received as honored guests. Worry not. Whatever decision is reached, your paths shall be yours to decide. Until then, heed the warning of these brave heroes. Guard your hearts against fear and despair, for it is within such fertile soil that the seeds of blasphemy find purchase. Remain calm and attend to your daily tasks. I shall return anon.
We'll do as you say, Master Vitra. We believe in you.
Oh, you're still here. What a relief.
Nidana, what's the matter? Has something happened at Palika's stand?
Oh, no, not that I know of. I just hope to hear your thoughts on a theory of mine. All who undergo the transformation are drained of their ether, yes? What is it then that gives these beasts the strength to carry on as they do? Logically, they must be drawing upon an alternate form of vital energy. That put me in mind of our earlier conversation, when I tried to explain the essence which many confuse with ether.
Akasha. Yes, I remember. The unseen gift bestowed from on high. An energy influenced solely by emotion.
Yes, yes. In this instance, negative ones set Akasha into motion, thereby infusing the beasts with vitality. I posit this as the mechanism by which the beasts are born and sustained. Ah, do you still have that flower?
Yeah, well, not anymore.
If we accept that it once shone bright by drawing upon Akasha, influenced by the thoughts of those nearby, then fear, terror, despair, negative emotions so powerful as to suffocate it, permeated the air in this place. You must be very careful. The forces which drive the final days may be beyond our ability to perceive. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you like that. At any rate, I will continue my research into Akasha. Do temper your expectations, however. There are sadly few detailed studies upon which I may draw.
Formulating a new theory as you have is itself no small feat. I wish you well in your endeavors, and pray you take care.
Thank you. You stay safe as well, yes? Till next we meet, and we will meet again.
So we've now lost that Elpis flower. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm at least gonna try and get to the next stage. Set wrap. So, Joe, for aiding my people in this most trying of times. The last matters here at Megadu to prevent me from meeting you all in person. I'm going to arrange for a feast to be held in your honor. May it nourish you in preparation for the trials ahead. Ceremony your time. Alright. Ephraim Plaza, I shall go on ahead. Right. I can at least get close through the I think we are close to. Alright. Let us break out thy rotate, thank you. Come on. And this thing is gonna be as slow as all garbage. Load, you little piece of crap. Thank you. I see you for right, it has been restricted to a select few ever since the tower first appeared. Sincerely apologize. Dream of the tower emergency. Risk we could not take. The search restrictions will only hinder our efforts to combat the final days. As such, I would encourage you to attune with the Ephraim before proceeding along the corridor. Alright. Nice. There we go. Hang on, why? Alright, now we are attuned to this. And we just go to the Hall of the Radiant Host. Okay. Endwalker. And the Hall of the Radiant Host. From our leadership post, he's all of Red Hands military operations. Some drop. Destination lies ahead. Right, so we are at 85. Oh, screw off. Come on. Come on. Okay. Yeah, at World's End. Okay, yeah, so we are literally at the... Thank you. So the next quest will actually take us back, so I'll probably just collect both the... Come on! I'll probably collect the quest, and I'll probably actually start doing the role quests, because we're actually at level 87, so we can do a good chunk of the role quests. I'm gonna need to check the okay, so I'm still logged in. Yeah. Alright. Speak with the Radiant Host Soldier. Okay, Sandra, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to... you stepped through the door. Look at one who's walked through hell. Show us, please. You are speaking to the satrap's honored guest and a savior of our people. Can you not show a modicum of respect? You're disrespecting there and paying a fellow warrior a compliment. We're all friends here, or will be soon enough. All formally then, for the benefit of my countrymen, it's a pleasure we have. Silence, all warrior lion. All around good egg, I'm sure. This talk of eggs reminds me I'm late for dinner. Not after my own heart, I take it. Alright, I'll keep it short. There's just a thing or two I would like you to remember. First of all, about the room you're standing in now. Resident welcomes delegates from other lands to oversee trade and diplomatic dealings. There are military matters to discuss, which is why all these officers are stationed here in Sundrop. I imagine you are more than familiar with each of the nations they represent, yes? You've got representatives from Doma, Uldar and Alamigo, Limsalaminsa, Gridania, and last but not least, Ishgard. Their eyes, ears, and mouths bridge the distance between Razatan and their respective homelands. You've used this brief respite to show the details of plight with our overseas counterparts. Wouldn't you know it, all their leaders requested a few words from you specifically. You're a woman in high demand, eh? And so, would you mind regaining us with your own account? Indulge us before you indulge yourself. The conditions under which men have turned into beasts, the etheric anomalies you have earned, you have given us much to consider. It is known that the first transformation apparently occurred before the skies turned red. It is contrary to what one would expect. Thankfully, the information you conveyed to Lucia upon your return from the moon has already proved invaluable. As soon as reports of calamity here in Favnir reached the Grand Company of Eorzea and our Far Eastern allies, our leaders knew at once that the final days were indeed upon us. They began taking steps to assess the extent of the phenomenon's spread. Our agents were able to confirm that for the time being, the skies burn only over the bounty, including this island and Corvos. Alas, that is of little comfort. Aye, all throughout allied lands there have been reports of people transforming into hideous beasts. From what little we have learned, these incidents are similar in nature to that involved Khazal. As was the case here, the victims underwent the change prior to the heavens being set ablaze, and so, while the burning skies have yet to manifest beyond the bounty, the transformations do not appear to be subject to any similar restriction. If anyone anywhere overcome by despair can turn, there's nowhere is safe. And about the size of it, speaking of which, we ought to give those creatures a name, don't you think? Here at Ratatan, we've been taking to calling the first of change, which tend to be the biggest, blasphemies. As fitting a name as any, to ensure clarity in future communications, we shall urge our comrades to adopt this terminology. Our leaders have taken measures to deal with the threat to the best of our abilities. Each nation has assembled their own groups of elite soldiers to put down these so-called blasphemies and their spawn as and when they appear. At the same time, they are doing all in their power to put the people's minds at ease and prevent panic and fear from spreading. That said, brave souls with the strength and force to fell these terrible fiends are not so easily found. So, it is for that very reason that we turn to you. Pray, lend us the strength and help us to slay the blasphemies that plague our homelands. No. You don't have to give your reply before dinner. I should also mention that each blasphemy seems to possess widely different characteristics, which works well against one, serve you poorly against another. So before you go rushing off to save everyone's day, have a word with the delegates. They'll tell you what to expect. Yeah, we've got a friend here as a feast to attend. Spare a thought for us while you're tucking into all that fine cuisine, eh? Gain access to Roll Quest for Endwalker. A separate quest line and story is now available for tank, melee DPS, physical range DPS, magical range DPS, and healer roles. If you want to take these quests, speak with any of the delegates in Sundrum, and agree to help defeat the blasphemies that plague their respective homelands. Right. Yeah, and as you can see, only one is marked as available. The rest are locked. So what it is Doma is physical ranged. Alamigo, well, it's Alamigo and Uldar are healer. Gridanian is tank. Laminsa is melee DPS, and Ishgard is magical range DPS. No. Oh, a terrible sense of direction. Right. So what I'm gonna do is pick up this. Seeds of Disquiet. The Doman Delegate is seeking able-bodied adventurers on behalf of Lord Hien. Oh no, thank the Kami. Lord Hien has requested assistance in the resolution of a most urgent matter, the hunt for fell beef believed to be a blasphemy. Though you have made great strides in ensuring the safety of our people, we fear even our finest shinobi will be no match for this enemy. For it commands the skies of Doma. That is your talent for striking down foes at a distance is beyond compare. I can think of no one better to aid us in overcoming this adversary. Oh, can we be praised? I should inform Lady Yugiri that she may receive you at the Doman Enclave. Safe travels. Right. There we go. Ethernet. Right, so I think I'm gonna let. Cause I think there's probably a load of cutscenes to play out. There's nothing that can be done. It's hard to hear that he meant us no harm. Especially this sort of. Bring your drink. Right. Yeah, we got war problems ahead of us. Our allies have sent military delegates. That's good news to. That's news to me. Mind sharing the details?
So blasphemies now plague all the realm.
It will only get worse if what Father said is true, as it did in Amarot.
If that's our model, then shouldn't we expect the effects to grow more severe as it feeds off its own spread? As if people transforming into those monstrosities wasn't bad enough. If the flora and fauna, if the land itself turned against us.
No one would survive.
Here's your order, friend. May you find comfort in these dark times.
Where do we go from here? If there's one thing we've learned, fighting blindly and simply reacting to what comes will accomplish nothing. We must find a solution that addresses the fundamental cause. Before our strength is exhausted, before this crisis spirals out of control. Is there something, anything we've overlooked?
If there is an answer, Hydaelyn herself will have it. 'Twas she who bound Zodiac and forestalled the final days. Alas, we have heard naught from her since the Tower of Babel. Whether she cannot or will not speak, I can only speculate. Even the flower she gave us is no more.
In our time, we called it Elpis. You would do well to remember the name.
So advised the Watcher. But what could be the significance of that name? It is entirely unfamiliar to me.
To me as well. It meant something to the ancients, though. In our time.
Most surely. Yet I do not recall a single mention of it in the records of Anida.
Another dead end. And quite literally. It's not as if there are any ancients living we could go and ask.
Well, there is one.
Not alive as such, but not quite dead. Elidibus. I sealed him in the White Horusite of the Crystal Tower back on the first. Contained within that reservoir of ether that maintains it, ether that is returned little by little to the sea. Naught may remain of his soul. However, if part of it lingers, we might be able to speak with him there. We can no longer make that journey, but you, my friend, still can.
An opportunity to look in on the others as well.
Thank you, my friend. That would mean much to me.
If nothing else, should we learn the first is safe, we'll have that much more reason to keep fighting the good fight. That said, the odds are not in our favor, to say the least. Which is why we're fortunate to have Urianger up there on the moon, working hard to make all the necessary preparations for our departure, should it come to it.
and why we have nothing to lose by staying the course till the last instant.
Indeed. To the last, let us all do what we can. I will consult with Master Matoya and see if she knows of a way to reach Hydaelyn from the ethereal sea.
And I will visit the nation's leaders and attempt to ascertain how far the final days have progressed elsewhere.
Keep me abreast of your findings. I can seek out and slay the worst of the immediate threats, if only to slow the spread.
Unease, terror, despair. Try as we might to suppress them, these emotions will return to harry us time and time again. But when they do, remember this. Your friends and loved ones are out there somewhere, sharing in your struggle. You are not alone.
So ends the brief respite before the next revelation. Yes, so much left for you to see. Where beginning ends, and end begins.
Ah, lovely. Alright. Okay. I think that gives us another title. Reacher's Valiant. Alright. Speak with Lena in the Crystarium. Although where we will actually be headed is to the Doman Enclave. Because we will be taking a detour. Oh, and thinking of things. Alright, let's right, let's view the sale history. Oh. Let's see. Yeah, only 95 gil because it was just the Alright, sell history. Right. I don't think there's anywhere I can actually sit. Oh. Oh, yes, it works. Mostly. So, that is going to be it for today. Once this actually gives me back my display, yeah. And I don't think it actually lagged this time. So, yeah, Alexa, activate evening mode. Alexa, activate evening mode. That thing really has a few issues. Anywho, that is where we are going to leave it for today. Alexa, open YouTube on Roku. Alright, so on Tuesday we will be taking a temporary detour from Endwalker MSQ, and I will be doing, I think we could do 3 of the role quests. 55, 50, 85, 86, and 87. Because we are currently at level 87. So we can actually get rid of 3 of the quests. Because we'll have 88, 89, and 90 left to do. Yeah. And I'm going to have to get on with cooking, getting my usual stuff done, and hope the printer will hold out for a while, because, well, the first thing I'm going to be doing is ordering in a set of replacement of parts to actually build a new computer. Well, the new, I say in quotation marks, because most of the hardware will actually be used. Anywho, again, I'll be back. I will catch you on Thursday, where we will we will continue on, do the role quests, and continue on with MSQ progression.